LFM proved that they have come to play the series versus Gale Force Esports, winning Game 1 on Cursed Hollow, but Gale Force got mad and got a pretty swift victory off of one power play on Sky Temple, tying up the series 1-1 as we get ready for Game 3.
It's the way Sky Temple works sometimes. You can kind of get ahead, and then the way the Temples work, most teams unwilling to commit to that down to talent tier, things like that. LFM just couldn't find a way to pull the trigger. Find ourselves 1-1, and now I'm curious. With both LFM taking the first pick on both of this, they were the home team on the first one. And then, of course, Gale Force gave up first pick. Well, LFM return the favor and say, no, we want first pick. You pick the map.
Well, LFM's, both of their maps that they have shown priority towards, Sky and Battlefield of Eternity, are gone now. Sky was the last game, and Battlefield of Eternity was banned by Gale Force. So that may influence what LFM wants to choose here. They've been back and forth. Sometimes they have picked first pick, sometimes they've picked Battleground choice, given that this is their third series that they're playing of HGC Part 1. So we'll have to see where they want to go. If they feel like there are only specific places that they can get wins over Gale Force, I mean, there's only so many Battlegrounds left at this point, so let's see what they want to choose, if they picked first pick or if they have something up their sleeve. It looks like first pick, so they're going to switch back over to that. Kind of seems or feels like a lot of teams are following this same pattern, where if your favored map is up, you'll sacrifice first pick, otherwise you're just like, it's fine, we'll play whatever.
It really feels like Tomb of the Spider Queen, because it's such a smaller battleground, and the fact that it's 3 lanes and being smaller, we see a lot of early game rotations, but as we saw in a series yesterday, there was a heavy priority with the Johanna-Jaina combo to just kind of clear waves, clear waves, clear waves. And it feels like this opens up the door for the skirmish style, the team fight style that LFM tends to excel at a little bit more. I think it also opens the door for a potential Blaze pick if it is going to be. I think this is one of the better battlegrounds if he can be the bruiser style, really get power out of his charge in to get the stuns, things like that, quick rotations where Blaze could fit. I'm hopeful.
I know, I want to cast a Blaze game. Trixler and Caldor have gotten so many, it feels unfair. Let's see if one of our teams will give that to us. We've got another series too, where he might pop out.
And the Space Station, I think, would probably be the one where I would think.
Space Station Heroes.
Space Station alone.
Gosh, guys,
would be the team that I think that would be a.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for the drafts of that game. That series. It could be wild. Tomb of the Spider Queen, Game 3. LFM contemplating a Genji ban. This is the first time that we've seen Gale Force pick Tomb. I don't really remember them having a lot of priority over it before, and one of their favored battlegrounds is still up, Towers of Doom. So it might be that Gale Force is going somewhere more middle of the pack, get a next win, and then finish things off on a place that they feel really confident.
I'd be a little bit surprised if Hanzo makes it through to Gale Force this go-around. We see a really quick ETC ban. Although Greymane, LFM had an extremely high
Greymane priority?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way. I was just wondering, I was holding my breath. I'm like, there's no way this takes this long. The one thing that I think works well for Tomb of the Spider Queen with Gale Force is the way that we've seen Biggie play a lot of mage style. He likes Gul'dan style, things like that. Now with Hanzo off the board, I think that Gul'dan, being that they only have 2 picks before the first ban, I don't know if I'd see him this high. We might even see a second ban on that.
What about Jaina?
You just get Jaina really high.
Jaina and Greymane. Yeah, LFM had a lot of priority on Greymane, but did not get a single win with it. Drayda played him 4 games last week, and it seemed like, I mean, especially game 1, the Dragon's Arrows that he had to set up his team, there was a lot of grouping from Gale Force because they were so melee heavy, but he took advantage of that, and he set up Figgy very well with the ETC. So I don't mind seeing LFM get that Hanzo there at all.
I think they're going to go Uther again. Greymane, you know, you've got a really good counter. I don't know, you could fall back. Arthas would be a little bit high right now. Arthas would do really well against both of these heroes. But I think Johanna, if you get her on the back end of the draft, might not be a bad option. Or if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you know, we've seen the Diablo style. So LFM, I feel Uther might be a good pick for them to deal with the burst style between the Greymane and Jaina. I think there's a lot they can.
Leo Joe. Lots of wave clear.
Leo Joe? They went with an early Johanna. Johanna obviously gives you the protection with the iron skin to deal with Jaina if she comes in. It also does well if Greymane tends to come in. You can blind the auto attacks, you get the mini stun, can help set up, and of course the wave clear as we see the Tassadar ban again. And maybe that's where LFM was waiting. Maybe Uther's appealing, but only with a Tassadar. And so they're thinking, well, we could get Uther, but it'd be really weird to go Uther Tass this early. So see if they get Tassadar through and then go.
So, you know, we've been seeing a ton of Malthael bans in that second ban spot. And for you guys' reference at home, in the North American region, he is the solo with the highest win rate. He's looking at 78%. He's played the least between him, Arthas, Dahaka, and Leoric, but of course you have to take into effect how many times he is banned in this second ban slot. Sometimes he makes it up even before that, but it feels like people aren't willing to pick him any further than that. There are quite a few counters to him. You're very reliant on Tormented Souls. But yeah, there's a reason in NA why he is so heavily prioritized and banned in that spot.
Now I wonder if Biggie will just go down the route of Dahaka. Ragnaros is available, we saw them, but Michael Udall was on that hero.
Ooh. Lucio returns, gives Garrosh the momentum to get into place for some tosses. Still waiting on the solo to go up against Leoric. I see a face you're making about the Garrosh.
The Garrosh suffers heavily from poke. Hanzo, depending on what he picks at level 7, because there's so much diversity, can take care of the armor.
Yes.
The one good thing that you have going for you is that if you get the toss over, you can get the stun and then Lucio boot back even further into your team. That works. But the fact that I see Johanna and Leoric, you've got unstoppable for both of them. You can Wraith walk out, you can Iron Skin walk out. And getting a hold of anybody else other than melee as Garrosh is very tough with the new rework on his Q talent. So I'm just not feeling it.
It's not just the sharpened arrowheads, it's Leoric and Drainhope too.
Just rip him apart.
Yeah, Garrosh is going to have a very difficult time. And with the slows and control that Johanna and Leoric have, he's got his work cut out for him to get into position for those combos.
I'd be fine with mage style here.
Uther.
There it is. I was going to say it, but I didn't want to say it. I'm thinking they'll probably go Gul'dan. But Kel'Thas gives you the burst damage against Garrosh. Level 7, you get the burst damage if you catch more than one member in your flame strike, so you can take care of Garrosh. And it gives you that frontline control. You don't just grab one of the squishies that comes forward with your Q and then toss them over anymore. Zeratul, again, I'm not feeling it here. But the other thing is that Mana Addict for Kel'Thas on this map is incredible.
Very good.
Incredible. So you can easily rotate Johanna, Kel'Thas between lanes the same way that we saw Johanna, Jaina last game. Get that Globe talent. Remember, it is infinite stacking with Globe on Mana Addict. It's not just like you get 20. You get the shield once you get 20, but you can continue to stack that up. Zeratul getting on that back line, it's almost like you get mid to late game where Zeratul spikes up, and as long as you've collected 30 globes, which is very reasonable now on Tomb of the Spider Queen with Kel'Thas, it's a tough time to try and get on him and get the kill.
Yeah, you're pretty much looking just at Hanzo. And then the Uther, the Aware, is more than capable of handling that. Hits him with the stun. You've got follow-up, Gravity Lapse 2. Beakid's going to have a tough time, but we've been saying that about all of the counters for Zeratul, so we'll see how it works out for him here on Tomb. The game is ready. Don't forget, we are tied up between LFM and Gale Force as we head into Tomb of the Spider Queen for Game 3.
Love the Kel'Thas pickup, Gillian. It just does so much to give you the wave clear. Can bring you out later in the game. Gives you that insane wave clear as well as the frontline control on a Garrosh, who I just don't know where the value is going to be. Maybe Fury can prove me wrong, but getting the toss on a Johanna Leoric is not that appealing to me.
I do think this is going to be a Ring of Frost game.
Oh yeah.
It's Taunt Ring of Frost. Any world where it's not Might of the Nerazim.
Maybe it's time to bring back the old school.
The old school VP Ring of Frost. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of new Zeratul to even know it. Is that just so not even possible anymore? We'll see. Warbreaker, J-How points out to me, is different than what we had the last Garrosh game. Justin played. He was going for more of the body check into the heal reduction at 7, but here trying to get some cooldown reduction and additional damage too with the CDR for a Groundbreaker. more stuns. He'll be stacking that up.
The fact that you get a shield based on your maximum mana as Kael'thas on Tomb of the Spider Queen, in these early rotations, they are grabbing every globe, instantly clearing, and walking out. It is such an incredibly powerful tactic to do. Not convection. Just go full mana addict.
Yeah. And there is a really big problem that Kael'thas also gives to Gale Force, which is that the wave clear is just even better. We already saw it with the Leoric and Johanna, but then you add Kael'thas to that, and Gale Force are struggling this early on and trying to keep up with those mid-bot rotations. They do grab the glove, they also take out all the minions, and then Gale Force is just trying to stay caught up. Lucio, not gonna be good at that. He's just tickling minions. Garrosh, the same thing. They're relying on the Greymane and the Jaina to try to keep up with LFM, and as LFM continue to push those waves, it lets them have control over that turn-in point, and it lets them do more things with their rotations, like look for picks.
I was actually a little bit surprised that Udal's not on Greymane. Instead, he's on the Jaina pick. It's generally vice versa when it comes to the Mage Greymane setups. So it's a little bit backwards, a little bit of change-up in terms of hero pool there. And there's a prime example. They have limited follow-up. You get the iron skin that gets you out of there. I mean, they do get a decent push out of that, don't get me wrong. But in terms of what we saw, in terms of what Garrosh is going to accomplish, it's going to look a lot like that. And there's going to be very few opportunities to get much more than that, especially when you can add in the fact that Uther is also going to be adding in that armor in case somebody does get caught thrown in.
The only reason Gale Force got that really good push is because LFM took a while to get their own bruisers. Now they're getting their bruisers. They do need to be careful of this because this is one place where Garrosh still excels, is when you are trying to siege, he can go in and try to throw someone over the gate. They're focusing on bringing down that gate as fast as they can so that no longer is a problem. And post 10, having Uther, who has Divine Shield, can bail someone out for a little bit longer, that's also going to help a lot.
I miss the days of Gravity Crush at level 7 for Kael'thas. Just amp up some damage.
No, you don't.
Oh, as a Kael'thas player, I do. It is a long, long time ago when that was so much fun. But now you get the percentage-based damage. Akabe's got to be careful as they're kind of lurking in the shadows. You know, Figgy can get the condemn. Aware comes over to get the follow-up stun. T can really follow up on that. So there it is. That's ooh, if that's any other hero without Blink, that's a dead hero. That's exactly what they're going to try and do. Condemn into an Uther stun into a Gravity Lapse. Just happens to be Zeratul, and he had that 1/2 second to get the Blink out.
Yeah, and that gets stronger and stronger as LFM levels up. Things like Blessed Shield, things like Benediction. Those will be a lot more Dragon's Arrow too. A lot of setup for that. The empowered Gravity Lapse doesn't quite catch Michael Udall, thankfully for them. Otherwise, we would be likely looking at First Blood. But even still, LFM has a great early game setup. But Gale Force sneaks in the first web weaver phase, and this will help them a lot with all the pressure that they've been dealing with from LFM.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to get a bit down in the mid lane, see if they prioritize finishing that fort, maybe, or the fort wall, and then maybe going into the fort. But they just don't have the pressure, I think, with the Zeratul pickup. You know, if they can get somebody caught with a Jaina pickup, then they can use that opportunity after getting one pick to do more. But I think that's going to be very limited in terms of their max potential this early in the game with the Zeratul.
Yeah, the team's just spreading out, trying to get towers, trying to get the experience advantage, trying to get 10 far away or ahead of LFM. Here's checking out and has Zeratul there, but with Greymane in the bottom and Jaina in the top, it's a lot more about just clearing out the towers ahead of all the forts. Bottom though, bottom looks really good. Big impact here has been sticking in Worgen form now, trying to bring that down as he goes in and puts some damage in on Leoric. So bottom worked out really well for Gale Force that they had that strong of a push.
Yeah, them opening up that middle lane with that night camp early just forced the response, keeping LFM honest in that middle lane, not able to have the defense. T getting tossed over. There's the armor. Oh, the cancel of the Groundbreaker there, I think might have saved T there. Just kidding.
Nice job,
B-Kid.
B-Kid.
He snuck in the back door and took somebody's lunch.
It's not very nice at all. Why would you do that, B-Kid? It was set up from him having that, or them having that hard push in the bottom lane. And that is First Blood. It seemed very important for Gale Force to get something done with that web weaver phase, provided how far back they were pushed. And they got a ton done with a level lead, more than, and just about getting heroic abilities. And they are working on getting a lot of mercenary camp pressure set up so that they can keep LFM at bay until they get more gems for the next turn-in.
Yeah, and this is where we saw a lot of value out of the first objectives on the last few maps for Gale Force. They find themselves with a full level lead in heroics. The problem is Kel'Thas at level 13 and then moving into 16 has such incredible wave clear that if you're Gale Force, you actually did really well. You got the fort walls down in top and mid, but you also took the fort in the bottom lane, which is why you have the experienced lead. It's up to you to get those next 15, 14, 13 gems now to try and double up on turn-in and then try and get even more. And what they're going to do, they're actually going to make a play for the boss, and I'm okay with this. You cannot play passively if you're Gale Force. You have to take this opportunity to get more and continue to put the pressure on and hope to build that same 2 to 3 level lead to make it easier to defend.
Yeah, they were just so far behind in gyms. It took a while to get those, but they also were so far ahead in having heroics that they have the time to go up and get this boss, knowing that LFM are busy. They have busy work in clearing out the mercenaries and getting heroic abilities. Are almost there, and LFM, true to their form, have set themselves up so that they can fight as soon as they have those heroics and not give anything else. But it was just enough time for Gale Force.
Well, they know he's there.
Yeah.
I was going to say...
Oh, you gotta know. There's the reveal.
Just missing out on that. Condemn, B-Kid, able to step just off to the side. The boss, I mean, this is exactly where they want them to be. Getting the toss over onto Figgy. There's the taunt. But Fury's in trouble.
Yeah, Fury does go down. It is not Ring of Frost. Water Elemental is out. Special T, or T just getting blown up from that as the Water Elemental gets turned on. T barely lives, getting a heal. Beacon trying really hard to get the harassment in to take somebody down. But the boss that whole time, Gale Force totally fine to give that one kill up of Garrosh. It's early on. They did lose out on some damage on that mid fort because of the mercenary camp, but they're getting the gems turned in now.
If Gale Force sneaks this in, Figgy, that is a crucial moment for them to get that turn in, to neutralize the push, neutralize the damage, get some experience of their own. Had they not gotten that, Gilly, middle fort would have likely fallen. Gale Force would have had 13 tier advantage, and they could have been far more aggressive and potentially looked to push this even further out of the hands of LFM. By sneaking in that turn in, LFM gets themselves right back in this game despite having a structural disadvantage, can easily turn this around.
Yeah, and that's the difference of baiting that fight, keeping LFM from defending the boss, and keeping Fury alive and Fury going down, is that they don't have that follow-up turn-in. So we'll see how much LFM can get done with it. Beautiful gravity labs. Big impact gets caught with a follow-up Entomb. Slowed down, stunned, dead. Greymane dies. LFM gets the fort, and they want more.
They want more, and they're going to get a lot more out of this. With that being down, that's one of the main defenders here for the push. Jaina trying to work in from the side, having to come up. They got to focus on getting this down. Although there's a toss over, Gate is down, Johanna walks right out. Remember, LFM has enough gems to get another turn in, and if they get multiple structures down here, it is mega value.
Yeah, they're the ones that get to 13 first, even despite being down so far behind with heroic abilities that they had to give up a boss for free to Gale Force Esports. Now, using that wave clear to their advantage, the push in the mid, how much damage got done with the Bruiser camp while Gale Force and LFM were duking it out over the turn-in points. They take out all of the forts.
I think we got them.
Yep, all of the forts. And take back control in this game.
They've got control, and they're going to try and get the second turn in. They're actually going to turn their focus. Garrosh so far forward, the self-cleanse there has no effect. They've got
Dragon's
more.
Arrow. They do. They took out two in quick succession. This really feels like game one. Cursed Hollow for Gale Force. They get the lead early. One kill starts to spiral things out of control. They lose just a few staggered deaths, and LFM don't let off the gas pedal after that. Really good synergy to T, setting up with the Gravity Labs, catching Swabs, always following up with the Entomb, and then the Dragon's Arrow catching Lucio. LFM looking great here. There's another one. There's another combo. It's on Big Impact this time. Johanna diving deep for that kill. So is Swabs, and they get it.
They get it, and things are spiraling out of control. Getting a Leoric kill is nice, but that is Leoric who will be back. The sieging potential of LFM is really strong. The Water Elemental has actually done a lot of damage to T. I think LFM would like to get the keep here. Phoenix is up. But Kel'Thas goes down as B-Kid sneaks in again on the backside.
Yeah, it's been cool to see Mike and B-Kid's synergy of having the Water Elemental as Mike goes down. The Water Elemental soften up Kel'Thas, and then B-Kid sneak in while the rest of the team, LFM, is busy getting something done, but even still that top lane is a disaster. Just almost gone is that keep. And Gale Force clears out the rest of the Web Weavers, but LFM aren't far away from 16, and they're not that far away from getting another Web Weaver phase 2. They're sitting on 41 out of the 60 necessary.
Yeah, I don't think they can really hold on until then. What they can do is get the camps like we see that they're doing now, control the lanes, keep them pushed out. By getting the lanes pushed out, particularly on the bottom, it allows you to kind of hold that middle ground, get that wave clear, and get the vision control. Makes it easier to defend around the turn-ins because Gale Force can only push forward so much. Having vision control in the lanes is one of the big benefits. You also have Leoric and Johanna on your team. We already saw what Garrosh did when it comes to trying to defend this. He doesn't have the same mobility. That doesn't have the unstoppable that he can just kind of walk. I mean, he does with his level 4, but in terms of walking through stuff, it's just not the same.
Yeah, but Jay-How, Gale Force are about to face the same situation that they put LFM in earlier in the game, where LFM get the bottom camp, the mid camp, and then Boss is up just now. They have that 16 advantage, but it would mean giving up potentially a turn-in to Gale Force, as Gale Force are about to 16. Doesn't seem like LFM has interest in that. They'd rather keep control of the turn-in points while they get those last few gems, and then just get a turn-in from that so they can do a lot more damage to Gale Force's base.
Yeah, they have complete control when it comes to viewing the lanes. Udall just now finished clearing up the bottom. He's finally able to rotate up. Looks like B-Kid, yeah, B-Kid was hiding, keeping an eye on the boss, and then just kind of snuck in to make sure and get the turn in. It's a really important play right now. The lanes are pushed up in mid and top, so Gale Force needs to fast clear these to get more value out of the Web Weavers, but I feel like it was a small missed opportunity there for LFM to try and hold and defend, and they kind of lost track of that turn-in, and now Gale Force back in the game.
Yeah, loved the decision-making not to go after the boss, to try to make sure that they were going to be able to get a turn-in as soon as they got it, but not keeping track and knowing that Zeratul could be off the mini-map as long as he's in the stealth mode. So Gale Force doing a bunch of damage to Figgy as they use the Cursed Bullet. He is nearly dead. He's so close to being dead. The Phoenix, he survives, uses the cocktail too.
Yeah, Biggie, he wanted to commit to that, but he knows Divine Shield is on the other side. And even if you try and get that kill, you find yourself in a bad spot. And if D-Shield goes, you just kind of fall. And I think that was a wise decision not to try and confirm that kill.
Amazing patience from LFM not to burn that. Clearing out the Web Weavers pretty fast as well. Gale Force just has to be content with taking out that fort, that final fort in the mid. That will tie them up just about with the experience of LFM.
Yeah, they get there. Both teams, though, do have enough for another turn-in. With the lanes pushed out, we're going to see there's 7 seconds until they can turn in. See if they can try and double up on this. Johanna already moving into position. Again, Johanna, one of the best goaltenders to defend that. Already in position, should get the flashlight out. Figgy needs to...
Those didn't hit anything.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. That's normally Johanna's job because of the iron skin. They didn't give up the full turn-in, but they gave in 54.
Close.
You can see Udall hanging out at the bottom. He's got enough to finish the turn-in, just waiting to see if enough goes top, but Swab's doing a good job of at least keeping an eye on the bottom.
Yeah, they don't see all of Gale Force. They know they need to keep track of both of them. They've already had one turn-in snuck underneath their nose. They will not allow for a next one. Drake is going to start. Fury walks in. Stun doesn't hit, but Wrecking Ball will.
Jaina now getting the turn-in bottom. See if maybe you can get the root here.
Biggie's here too, uses the Cursed Bullet. They're turning on him, trying to force him back. Swabs took a ton of damage from that turn-in starting from Michael Udall, and with the harassment of B-Kid, trying to keep Swabs alive through that second Web Weaver phase for Gale Force.
Yeah, really nicely played there to make sure get the one bit of damage in onto Jaina, flexing B-Kid and Michael Udall over there, or excuse me, Biggie and Michael Udall over there. Netted them the turn-in, and with the top and bottom pushed out so much, Gale Force turns their attention mid, gets that pushed forward now. All eyes are here on the bottom lane. This is an opportunity for them to really try and open this up. We'll see, can Kel'Thas kind of thwart things with that double flame strike at 16?
Can be a very difficult thing, sieging into a Kel'Thas because of that, as well as the choke points and the spread bombs. So nice on Gale Force to open up those towers too. Sound Barrier forces Fury went in for a flip. He's pretty low in health. More than that was done too. You see the Water Elemental, and they're just going to burn that out so they don't have to deal with that.
The Keep survives. That was the first bit of damage the Keep took because of all that. The middle opened up a little bit, the top as well. Kael'thas should be more than okay. Gale Force instantly rotating up to the boss. If they were going to make a boss play, Gilly, a lot of times you'll see teams prioritize the mid or top lane, leaving the bottom lane to be the last lane prioritized by the defending team. As it stands, LFM defended the top lane last and have a much quicker rotation over. So if that was the long-term play by Gale Force, they did it a little bit backwards. Maybe that was just the late part decision, but if you are making that play, you have to prioritize mid or top first.
Yeah, that did not seem like as much of the long-term play as just trying to do something given the fact that the pick on Kael'thas didn't work in the bottom. Fury went in, he dove pretty deep, took a lot of damage from that. They kept Kael'thas alive, and because of that, Gale Force maybe was wondering if, knowing that LFM had what it was necessary for a turn-in, if LFM would just head straight to the turn-in point, but Gale Force didn't have the gems for a turn-in. The bigger play, the bigger problem then, the way that Gale Force could have won was by getting that boss. And LFM recognized that. They head to the boss first, they forced Gale Force off of it, now they can try to go for that turn-in.
They can go for that turn-in. You know, the experience is pretty even here. They're moving forward. B-Kid has been revealed. The camps meet in the middle. See a Blizzard on one side, a Flame Strike on the other. Who's trying to lurk here in the back? Who can get 20? B-Kid trying to body soak a few more minions up at the top. Dangerously close to 20 for both of these teams. Bless Shield is out and Fury's in trouble.
B-Kid's chasing down Drayden, but he uses the agility over the wall, has a Divine Shield. Sound Barrier keeps Fury alive, and Uther's gonna fall on the other side. Uther does not have Redemption. 20 was not there like it was for Gale Force Esports, so once that Ghost is down, so is the supporting for LFM, and so is the Leoric.
B-Kid, let's see if he can make a play happen. With 2 members down, this would be an excellent opportunity for Gale Force. If they want, they can go in, take a Keep here. They're going to look for more. T's going to go down. Now we're looking, instead of just Keep, this could potentially be game. They've got their eyes on Drayden. Nice toss there by Fury. That's going to help seal the deal as he gets the toss over, using that toss, that talent that gets the stun, gets the kill, and just like that, Gale Force, they got 20 after that first kill, opened it wide open. They're going to have themselves a victory.
Excellent job from Gale Force to slow down, knowing the rotation path. B-Kid keeping an eye on LFM as they try desperately to get back to their base and stop the end of this game. But Gale Force Esports would not have that. They'll even bring down Swabs one more time with a Cursed Bullet as they take down the core, go up 2 games in this best of 5.
Casually toss B-Kid over. A little victory toss there as Gale Force, you know, things stalled out a little bit, but, you know, they got a lot out of that last Web Weaver push, enough to kind of control the lanes, control the vision. And then once they made the call to go back and get that night camp, it really neutralized things, and it all came down to a team fight right as 20 was close. And as you said, Uther did not have Redemption. Had they gotten another few minions, or they were the first to get a kill, snap block that pick, very different game, but timing was just right for Gale Force.
It worked out for them. I also want to say that Gale Force stabilized a lot better off of the staggered deaths that they had in this game. They had a few. Top looked like it was going to be a keep down. They kept it alive, and that they were able to stabilize from that. And even when that Web Weaver phase did give them control, but it didn't give them the keep in the bottom like they would have liked, went in hoping for a pick, didn't get it, went to the boss, but didn't stay there. They knew that this was a place where if they lost this fight, they were going to lose the game because of that top keep. So they backed off, they respected LFM, they didn't get hasty, and because of that, they maintained their composure, and they were able to get that last team fight win.
That Water Elemental onto Kael'thas, and B-Kid sneaking in the backside.
So cool.
I mean, that was
I was hoping
really
for
what
Ring of
saved
Frost,
it.
though.
I know. I mean, we kind of thought that we had the opportunity, but it obviously shows that Water Elemental still pretty strong, still the number 1. We've seen a few rings, but mostly Water Elemental, and it was enough to seal the deal here. And again, just that one little play. Had that keep gone down, we're looking at a totally different game. Had they gotten a few extra minions, we're looking at a totally different game for LFM. It just seems like they're so close to kind of having the right formula to finish these games and maybe have an easier time winning, but they're just a tad short in a couple of these moments. And Gale Force, you know, with their experience